All right, let's dive deep into some really interesting language. Today, we're looking at a scene from an English language learning podcast.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they use a kind of romantic drama story to teach vocabulary. And this scene's pretty intense. We're at the airport,
Okay. At the airport and
and there's this big reveal, lots of tension, talk about honesty and deception.
ooh, I love it when language learning gets dramatic.
Me too. This episode is full of juicy language. Like right at the start, Steven's trying to convince Veronica to talk it over.
Talk it over. That's interesting
Yeah.
because it implies, wanting to work through things, but is talking really enough after, well, a lie.
Good point, especially because Steven keeps saying he wants to come clean.
Right. Coming clean. It suggests confessing, right?
Mhm.
Revealing something that's been hidden. But it can also sound kind of self-serving, don't you think?
Totally. Like more about alleviating his own guilt than actually dealing with the hurt he caused.
Exactly. Makes you wonder if he's really taking responsibility or just trying to, get back in her good graces.
Yeah, it does make you question his sincerity, especially because Veronica straight up accuses him of deceiving her. No beating around the bush there.
Deceive, wow, that's strong. Goes right to the heart of it. It means intentionally misleading someone, often for, personal gain.
Mm.
Very different from the forthrightness that Stephen promises later when he's trying to win her back.
Oh, forthright. So the opposite of deceptive.
Exactly. It means being honest and transparent,
Mm.
laying it all out. But the question is, can you really be forthright after a pattern of deception?
Ooh.
Can you rebuild trust once it's been damaged like that?
That's the big question. And it's not just an apology Steven's offering here. He goes full on romantic lead, a dramatic airport declaration of undying love.
Undying love. Wow. That's a powerful phrase.
Definitely.
Evokes a sense of forever, an unbreakable bond. But coming from someone who just got caught in a lie, it hits differently.
It does. It makes you wonder, is it genuine? Or a way to manipulate the situation and avoid consequences? And then he promises to be a devoted husband, to cherish her always, like the whole romantic package deal.
It is, isn't it? Devoted and cherish. Powerful words. Devoted suggests complete commitment, putting her needs first,
Mm-hmm.
and cherish. That implies a deep appreciation, valuing her for who she is. But do those words really hold up in a relationship where the foundation's already cracked?
Right. Can you truly cherish someone if you haven't been honest with them?
Exactly.
And can you be truly devoted after you've shown disregard for their feelings?
Exactly. And that's where Veronica's reaction is so key. She's not buying into those grand gestures or words.
Not at all. Remember when Stephen keeps saying time and again he thought about confessing?
Time and again. That means repeatedly,
Right.
right? Over and over. But it also highlights that he didn't do it. He had chances, but chose not to.
And Veronica calls him out on that. She's not letting him off easy. She says she can't just drop everything at the drop of a hat.
At the drop of a hat.
Mhm.
It usually means doing something impulsively right away. But here Veronica's flipping the script.
Yeah.
She's emphasizing her need to think things through. Make a deliberate choice, not a rushed decision.
It shows she's learned something, doesn't it? At the beginning, she was following Stephen, supporting his dreams. But now she's putting herself first, demanding honesty.
Absolutely. Her language has changed. It's more assertive, more about setting boundaries.
And that leads to her most powerful statement. She refuses to build a relationship on a foundation of lies.
Ooh, foundation of lies. Now that's a metaphor that really hits hard. The foundation is the base, what everything is built on. And she needs honesty and trust as that base, not lies and half-truths.
I love how that image, something so concrete, makes such an abstract point. It really underlines how important honesty is.
It does. It's like she's saying, even if everything looks good on the surface, if there's no honesty, it's all unstable. It's brilliantly written. What stands out to you most about their back and forth?
I think the contrast between Stephen's grand pronouncements, trying to smooth things over, and Veronica standing firm. It feels like that classic struggle between emotions and like knowing your self-worth. What do you think?
I totally agree. And I think it goes beyond just them,
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, can words really fix damage caused by actions? Can you bridge that gap between deception and trust? Big questions for all of us.
Definitely a lot to think about. And we've only just scratched the surface. What other linguistic gems are hidden in this scene?
Let's find out.
Yeah.
It really is amazing how much emotion and interesting language they pack into a single scene.
It's true. It's like we're seeing all these layers, not just of the words, but of their whole relationship.
Yeah.
And speaking of layers, remember when Stephen mentions that his assignment in India is finished and he has to go back?
Oh, yeah.
Veronica's reaction is priceless? What are you kidding? She's totally blindsided.
It's like the audience knows, right? We know Steven's going to leave, but she's left scrambling, trying to process it all.
Right.
Really adds to the tension and makes her not wanting to drop everything at the drop of a hat even more understandable.
Exactly. It's not even just about being impulsive anymore. It's about, like, uprooting her whole life based on this huge revelation.
Yeah, and it changes the meaning of at the drop of a hat, too,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about being quick to act. It's Veronica saying,
Yeah.
hold on, I need to make a real decision here, not just get swept up in his plans.
She's come a long way from the beginning, hasn't she?
She has.
Like, at first it was all about following Steven, supporting him.
right.
Now she's putting herself first, demanding some honesty.
Totally agree. Her language is more confident. She's setting boundaries.
Yeah.
This seems about more than just romance. It's Veronica finding her own voice. You know,
Yeah.
it's a big statement about self-respect,
Mhm.
how important communication is in any relationship.
And that change in how she's talking really highlights the difference between her and Steven.
Yeah.
He's all big gestures, emotional appeals, and she's dealing with the actual reality of what's going on.
It's like they're speaking different languages, even though they're using the same words. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great point.
He's looking ahead to this future he wants with her, but she's stuck with what he did, the consequences.
It makes their conflict even more, like, complicated and real.
It does.
And it brings us back to that phrase, Veronica's foundation of lies. It feels like the whole point of this scene revolves around that, doesn't it?
It is the core of their conflict.
Mm-hmm.
That metaphor, foundation, it goes beyond just them, though, right? Think about it. We use foundation for countries, businesses, even scientific theories.
Oh, yeah.
It's the underlying principle, what makes things strong and lasting. Veronica's saying that honesty is like that.
Wow, you're right. Suddenly that phrase feels so much bigger.
It does.
It's not just about them anymore. It's about truth, having integrity in everything we do.
Exactly. And it makes you think, can any relationship really work if honesty's missing? Can you build something strong when the base is shaky?
That's the big question, isn't it? It makes you think about what deception does long term.
It does.
Like, even if Steven's feelings are real, can they ever really come back from this? What do you think?
Tough to say. I guess it depends on Veronica. If she can forgive, and if Steven shows he truly understands what he did wrong and wants to change. It's a classic dilemma, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can love overcome anything?
Yeah.
Or are some things just too much to heal from?
And that's where the scene leaves us, right? We're left wondering what she'll choose,
We are.
love or her own self-respect. So, well done.
It is. And there's one more thing. As the scene's ending,
Yeah,
the airport announcer, they say it's the last call for Steven's flight.
right.
Such a small detail, but it makes it so much more dramatic.
It does. That last call isn't just for the plane. It's like Veronica has to make a decision now.
Yeah.
Time's running out. Will she hold on to hope for a future with him?
Or choose honesty, choose herself.
It's like their whole relationship's balancing on that moment. The scene fades out and we're left hanging. What happens next? Does she stay? Does she go, oh, I gotta know?
I know, the suspense. But that's what's so good about this scene. It doesn't give you easy answers.
Yeah.
It makes you think about love, forgiveness, and how powerful our choices are.
This deep dive is way better than I even expected. I can't wait to break down the last part and find out what happens.
Me neither. It's amazing how much we can learn from just one scene, isn't it? Not just about words, but about life, relationships, and what we do when we have to face hard truths.
Okay, I can't stand it. What happens? Does Veronica stay or let Steven go?
Well, I don't want to spoil everything, but it's not like the typical happy ending in a movie. It's way more like real, makes you think about forgiveness, second chances, all that.
Ooh, even better. But before we get to that, there are a couple more phrases I want to look at. Remember when Steven says he couldn't put Veronica or his mission at risk? It felt like such a key moment, you know? Like he was justifying what he did.
Absolutely. Put at risk. It sounds reasonable at first, like he had to protect both his relationship and the mission.
Right.
But it also makes you wonder, was he really sorry? Or was it more about, like, saving himself, not taking the blame?
Yeah, good point.
Hmm.
It makes you think, does real love ever involve putting someone else at risk in the first place?
Right. It makes you question what loving someone really means. Does it mean sacrifice? being honest, even when it's hard, even if it hurts at first, but makes things stronger in the long run.
Whoa, deep stuff. It's amazing how such a simple phrase can bring up so many emotions, even ethical questions.
It is, and that's what language does so well.
Hmm.
You can explore these big topics in a way everyone understands, but it's also smart and interesting.
Totally. And that's what this podcast does so well. It's not just learning words, it's like thinking critically, looking at our own beliefs about love, honesty, how we talk to each other.
Couldn't agree more. Language is how we do all that, right? Relationships, feelings, figuring out the world. In this scene, they use language so well and the characters feel so real.
It's true.
Shows how even a made-up story can teach us a lot.
And speaking of learning, there's one more thing before we reveal the ending. Remember how the podcast hosts talk about Steven's time in India, like an exotic getaway?
Oh, yeah. That's interesting.
It felt like they were making Veronica's choice even harder.
Right. Exotic. It sounds like adventure, getting away from the normal routine.
Yeah.
It's like India represents this whole new world, a fresh start.
It is, like she's being offered a whole new life, a chance to start over, but can you really escape your past? Especially when there's trust issues, betrayal, things like that.
That's the question, isn't it? As the scene ends, will she be tempted by that exotic idea? Or will she stay grounded in what's really happening?
Yeah, we all face choices like that, don't we? That pull towards something shiny and new versus dealing with the tough stuff right in front of us.
We do.
Mhm.
So what does Veronica choose? The ending, it's both happy and sad. Veronica chooses herself. She doesn't run after Steven. She doesn't give him an answer right away. She takes time, to think about everything that's happened. She knows he loves her, but she doesn't let that erase the hurt he caused.
Yeah.
It's really strong. Shows how much she's grown during this whole episode.
That's amazing. It's not about choosing love or honesty. It's about knowing she deserves both.
Exactly. And the podcast ends kind of open-ended. We don't know if they'll get back together, but we see Veronica taking charge, not letting someone else's choices define her.
It's a great message, one that goes way beyond just this story.
It does.
This has been an awesome deep dive. We went from looking at words to talking about love, honesty, what it means to value yourself. It shows that learning a language is about so much more than just definitions. It's about understanding what it means to be human.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Language is how we make relationships, how we show how we feel, how we understand the world. This scene, with how well they use language and how real the characters are, it's a perfect example of how even a fictional story can be so powerful and smart.
So to everyone listening, here's something to think about. What makes a relationship strong? What does language have to do with trust? And how can we use our words to communicate better with ourselves and the people we care about? These are questions worth exploring in our own lives and with others.
Until next time, keep diving deep. And remember, every conversation, even made-up ones, can teach us something important about ourselves and the world we live in.